Dive in Mista with the recovery, and now it's time to dive into those corners onto Four Lakes, one of our custom maps to close out the first monthly. And what a monthly it has been already, Lidakor, introducing 2 new custom maps that I'm sure we'll be seeing more of, and it will finish on one of those 2.
Spawning in on the right side, it is going to be Wabo1 playing as the Chinese in blue, and on the left side, it is going to be Mista playing as the Rus in red. Both civilizations with the red flags, so someone had to settle with the blue color over here. We can't make both of them red, or at least it would be difficult to spectate if we did so.
I mean, that would make it very... No, I'm gonna stop. I'm at the... You know how I am. You get me like this, and I'm at the evil point in the cast. Like, you just said that we could be going for a subathon, making them play forever. I'm gonna be evil about this.
No, don't give bad ideas to people. You gotta stop. You gotta control yourself. We got a game to cast here.
Okay, that's fair. It's been a long day, and we will end with a hype one here. Rus, the dominant Civ, in a lot of people's eyes on Four Lakes, regularly banned because of the paranoia between both our customs, where because they are unexplored and unknown, the Rus look so strong, but something that is incredibly unexplored and unknown is the Chinese, and I'm excited to see what WAM has got in store for us.
One of the big things that the Chinese have over here is faster working docks, and even the ability to drop it faster because you build faster. But Vam does not want to take any of that. Instead, he's going very heavy on the land. You see, he actually has a limited amount of sheep to work with because he's busy just gathering them and also taking down the hunts as he passes. But he's gonna be fully land focused. So as you said, Chinese, one of the most unexplored civilizations out here, we might see a full land focused approach here from Vam. An approach that Mista has already fallen victim of in one of the weeklies on this map. In that game, he played Abbasids against the Rus, and he fell victim to a Rus full land-based play. One has to wonder whether Vam can surprise him now, if he focuses fully on land as well.
And the intriguing thing is, like, even if you're thinking, like, just multi-TC expansion as an idea, not going to say he's definitely doing it, but if you were, this is probably one of the best generations I've seen a Chinese player get to do this type of thing. He's got a natural wall to his northern side with the tree lines that he can actually wall off, and then he can funnel point the center with like a Barbican drop early on. Now, he probably doesn't want to do this because if he is only landlocked, all of his food sources are past those trees, but it does offer up some potency to a landmass which relies heavily on TCs, something that is all too natural for the Chinese.
Yeah, for now, what are those villagers up to? Barbican?
Pause.
Barbican. It's a Barbican! Oh, I love this. When Mista played... Yeah, it has to be a Barbican.
Yeah, it's but there's no wheelbarrow, and it's kind of there's a flickering in my eye, right? It's so slow, and it's scouted. It's not the ball though. Is he dropping on the base? He's dropping for the base right now. And look at this, Mista's walling everywhere.
Oh, he knows it. He knows the Barbican rush is coming. If he can buffer this up, it's gonna be a disaster for Vam. If that Barbican is not impactful, you just walked out here with 8 villagers for nothing. 8 villagers without wheelbarrow.
Let's say that again. Without wheelbarrow. You came, you get nothing. Good day, sir. Go home. But the Barbican, he found the one spot.
Oh, he's going in deep.
Mista, where's the wall?
Oh, he might find it.
It's going to come out now.
Oh, he's going elsewhere. He's going elsewhere. He's gonna find the angle, blocking it. Villager blocking it, but he can't stop it. Oh, Mista is in trouble.
Shiv's out. Mista, as is so typical this whole series, for most of it, no wheelbarrow, but he'll be quick enough. Gap close on top of him, only 7 villagers. Wham! Now wishing that he pulled more, but the beautiful build speed of the Chinese means that as long as 1 remains, this could still go up.
And the winner of this game goes to the Heidelberg LAN. So much on the line here with this Barbican. Down to 4 villagers, but the Barbican will be completed. It cannot be stopped. Mista won't be able to stop it. The villagers with their last dying breath finishing the Barbican out here.
But at what cost? 5 villages behind. Mista now eco booming up off the dock. And remember, although this dock is blocked out, you are Rus. You do not ever need to come home to drop off your food.
That's exactly it. Bit of a compensation here for Wham when it comes to killing villagers. Mista is also down to 16 himself. So many villagers gave their life for this for Wham. You really have to wonder if this Barbican paid off here, or if it will pay off.
But as we know, the Barbican could be the beginning of a very long and uncomfortable story for the opponent, and that's what it is here. Wham, now starting to extend around with outposts, but beautiful reaction. Mr. walling off the coastline to make sure he cannot wrap onto the tree line. And remember, he preemptively set up a wall on the south side, so you can't even do a full wrap 270 degrees around this base.
And now, as you said, this is just the setup for a long game over here. Wham said, okay, I can afford to lose my villagers because I can do two things. First, I can go multiple town centers, but what's more important is that I am in feudal age and you are not. If I get a junk out, a very cheap combat ship that is, I can sink your fishing eco before you ever have a chance to get a single Lodya attack ship out.
And we talked about reactionary, and that's exactly what Wham's doing in this play, because the beautiful thing is actually you can't even say, oh, junk won't kill me fast, I'll come back and get heals from docks. Do that, and you're going to be full of holes as you get shot by the gunpowder units way inside here.
Ooh, the chop in. The deep chop, yeah, the sneaky tower. And this might not be scouted by Mista.
It's a long path.
Ooh, he sees it. He sees it, but what can he react to this? Like, he can drop a wooden fortress, sure thing, but
like, you can't see him is the issue. Like, he's moving out of vision now,
I think
so
he sees
you won't be able to keep vision on him. He only saw it because of the docks, though. Look, watch. When he goes into the tree on the right side, he should disappear entirely. Oh, he goes for a revealed outpost, though.
But no response from Mista yet. If he goes for that response, he can't convert the Lodya fishing ships.
You don't have a good response. Your only response now is to go to the eastern wood line, but you can only access the eastern side because that Barbican covers it.
This is not looking healthy for Mista here, and keep in mind, Wham has been mining stone. Initially, I thought it's for the TC, but no, it's for arrow slits, or hand cannon slits, rather. Mista, for now, just like Jelly, you punch him in the face and he expands to the sides. For now, is going to the southern pond as well. He's going to lose his starting eco. A very messy game that could benefit Wham here.
Especially when you look at the eco count now. They're only 2 apart. And off the back of this, Wham can naturally just get his hands on Song. That happens a lot. It's beneficial in a lot of ways. Then it's not 1 TC versus 1 TC anymore.
And you do have the fishing geek of Mista exposed, and remember, those are pricey Lodya fishing ships. It's very easy to kill them, and they're very pricey. So losing every single fishing ship like that is painful.
And also notice this, Wham, he just saw the stable being dropped to the right side, so he'll be able to react with a Rax in his own base and get Spiven up to defend. This play is not going to work out for Mista as well as he's hoping.
He doesn't have gold. Mista doesn't have gold here, so he can't even go for knights. He can only go for horsemen, which is going to make this reaction even easier for Wham.
The last of the fishing boats is being cleaned up. They go to different corners, but they're just idle eco right now. A little bit of shoreline fish coming in, but overall Mista is struggling. Look at the food income, 164 a minute. He needs to transition land fast.
And off the back of this, Wham can also start building up his own fishing eco here, because now he has water control. And the key thing here is that Mista's key resources, they are exposed. Wham has a very compact base over here with defensive towers as well. Whereas for Mista, his lumberjacks are all exposed, ready to be raided.
Oh, it gets possibly worse for Mista. He's dropping a dock on Wham's lake, possibly assuming that he's gone for fishing at home, but he hasn't.
Oh. It's a bit like a brace trade at this point, to be honest, because we could legitimately see Wham fishing on the pond of Mista and Mista doing the same thing on the pond of Wham. Yeah, Mista, he couldn't use the scouts over here because of the towers being around, so he never scouted that Wham didn't build a dock back at home.
And you say it's a base trade. It's a base trade in more than just naval capacity. Like, Wham has technically got half of his land base over here. Double outpost, Barbican. And the cool thing, by the way, that he can now do, you've put down these walls to try and stop him. Like, if he's worried you're still on that tree line, he could just now get a transpo ship and go around. That's exactly why Mista goes all the way to the right side. He doesn't want to risk that uncomfortable nature coming out from the Chinese outpost spam.
Speaking of outpost spam, it looks like Wham has stopped for the time being, but Wham also noticed the dock on the south, so just as much as he started contesting the north, he can do the same thing on the south, and he also has vision on those lumberjacks, so Wham's got clear objectives in his sight. The question is, how is he going to deal with this? For now, it looks like it could be Song Dynasty, but is it Song? Oh, he aggroes the board.
So Song is a possibility, but he would have invested by now. I think he's
I
just
think it's
rushing
FC.
castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get Palace Guard, and you, funnily enough,
Yeah.
could end this series the way Mr. tried to start it.
I agree, and the thing is that he sees that Mista has minimal army in here. It's somewhat risky to rush fast castle like this, but when you have so much hunt, you're gonna have a great source of food here. All 14 deer that Wham has is gonna be here, and instead of Song, it's gonna be a second TC potentially into a fast castle and Palace Guard play.
Okay, that was just a misclick. He done it the other way around. So TC in the middle. This is going to be beautiful for him. That was the tight stack. That was the risk as well. Like, you have to move past that initial holding. Like, you're not necessarily having that choke point if you play too far out. But the TC creates a condensed point of control for him now. Mista, he's been struggling to get those knights online. He's delayed. And this delay
what he's
means
doing.
he's missed the opportunity to dive. And
Look at what he's doing. He's actually going Song. He's going Song, but what's more notable is that he replaced that town center because he wanted the mill there. He wanted the mill because he wants to supervise it. It's a bit of a risky choice going 2TC Song at this point. As you said, there would have been an opportunity for a fast castle Palace Guard play. But what can Mr. do to punish this greedy build here from Wham?
For the moment, he's got a few knights out, but remember that knights don't dive the Chinese very well. Most see if they have these arrow shots that all got reduced. But remember, those hand cannon slits do 25 damage per shot, so you're not mitigating even 20% of the damage at this stage with early knights.
Indeed, and any damage that you take on those knights are permanent. It's not like you have the French knights out there that can heal up. You take some damage on those knights, that is going to be permanent, and those hand cannon slits do hit hard. I'm actually starting to wonder whether Mista knows about the second TC. That could be a returning issue for him in this set, being late to scouting the extra additional town centers from the opponent, and I don't think he's aware of that just yet.
Oh, these quick balls are beautiful, actually. Nice little clutch maneuver there by Wham. Wham is being a greedy little tyke. He's trying to offset going for racks because he hasn't got the wood demand yet. Like, you know, he can not afford the racks, and then on top of that, he'd need 20 wood per spinman anyway. So he's just kicking it down the road. He's trying to delay that timing to exploit food and go to the maximum because, yes, this is going to be double TC, but off the back of that Lidakor, it'll be just as quick into the castle age with the resources he is accruing.
Exactly, castle age times will be comparable for the two players over here, but behind this one, Vam is building up a respectable eco, and that Chinese 2TC Song Dynasty boom is just about to kick in. On the other side, though, you do have Mista with a very nice midfield control, ability to pick up relics, and the board also inside. So if Vam is not putting up that much aggression, Mista's gonna have the opportunity to secure the majority of the relics, and off the back of that, potentially put up a ton of aggression against a completely undefended Chinese base here.
Because Wham is a greedy son of a gun. He's tacking up, and funnily enough, Mista still doesn't realize it yet. He's on the wrong side of the base. He needs to wrap around, discover the TC, and also discover the astronomical clock tower that he's going to be too late to stop, and Wham walls it off to ensure. Mista just got a repathing here. He should be suspicious.
Yeah, Mista needs to know something has to happen. He sees that Vam is not making army, so it has to be a tech up. Now he spots it. He's going to slow it down for a time being. I think you just gotta rush it.
That.
Yeah, he could have finished it.
The garrison is fine, but you don't need to take all the villages back. There's not even enough room for them all, but he doesn't want to sacrifice anything. The Rus will race up ahead of Wham, and now he's still under fire, under pressure, not able to complete the landmark.
There are bigger concerns. As you said, every single second that Wham is delayed could matter a lot. Because one thing that Mista is doing, not something that you see every day from Rus, is gathering stone. We have seen that Mista sometimes goes for a crazy aggressive castle to finish the game with. If Wham cannot field an army in the next 1 or 2 minutes, we could see a castle right next to that starting town center.
It could just be the coup de grace. Wham, maybe he thinks about going to stone himself. He can accrue it quicker than the Rus in most situations, but with Mista already having a 500 stone start, it would be difficult. One upside right now for Wham is he has spread out his base a little bit. If you drop a keep, it would probably have to be between both TCs to be truly effective.
620 on the stone department is Mista. He's also gathering relics behind this one. And at the beginning of the game, Wham was the one who brought the engagements into Mista's base. That could turn around in a blink of an eye, because now Mista is ready to push the fight to the base of Wham.
Whoops. Wham working very hard to wall himself in, but may have forgotten a slightly exposed flank here to the north side.
There is the castle. Okay, so if you're Wham, how on the earth do you stop this when all you have on the battlefield military-wise is 2 junks. Nothing. You have the clock tower, you have the trebuchets, but you are gonna get cut off from wood. And what's more important is that you're getting cut off from gold. I don't think Wham has a backup gold mine here.
He's got one.
He has one on the north. Okay.
Now. And the wood's good.
He's safe for now.
This is not a GG keep, but am I the only one starting to think Wham's been hit hard in the head and still thinks he's playing in the Outback Octagon? Because this villager-only strategy is something I'd expect out of someone playing a mega random free-for-all.
And the concern for him is that the villager counts or overall eco counts are identical, but behind this one, Mista is picking up the relics, and as score is showing us, there is also an opening on the left side that has never been walled off by Wham, and I'm getting suspiciously a deja vu feeling of the previous game, where it was the same thing. Wham playing very condensed, very eco-focused, and by the time he started adding army, really, it was too late.
Yeah, and Wham in this situation is going to the Lancers though. Now, something to keep in mind is like if you eventually reach up to your own Dynasty, highly underrated, you can actually outmaneuver the Roost Knights here. That's the only way it seems like a great play. But if what you're doing as Mista is fueling your economy via fishing boats, and you're relying on doing so by going into all this wood, that does condense your eco. And if Wham sneaks out with just a few Lancers, he could do some irreparable damage.
Wham needs to sneak out with some Lancers. He currently has only 2 on the battlefield. And as you said, Mista's eco is very much spread out. But I'm not sure how much damage these Lancers can do right now, because Mista can match those numbers. In fact, he has way better numbers, so he can just detach a couple of his own Lancers to pursue and ensure that Wham can never do tremendous eco damage here. And unless you do big eco damage here for Wham, it's gonna be insufficient, because you see, Mista's doing something else as well. He's stripping the map barren of resources, taking away the enemy gold mine here.
I just love how hard Mista's working to get through the front. There's just clear access around the back. Now keep dropped over here. Sacred Site control is not going to be dictated by Mista, not today. So Wham stations defense over here and has now got access to additional wood lines as well as a gold vein.
Keep is gonna be complete. That should also decap the Sacred Site. So now Mista knows that Wham has an expansion castle over there. What is he going to do against it?
It's very hard for him to like insta-react to this, because the issue behind what Mista's done here, he's built up a decent amount of knights, he's got a keep drop, and he's taking resources away. But where's the siege? There's no way of breaching in. Right now, as you said, he's trying to drain the map, so his goal is to lag this out, to drag this out. But when they arrive in that late game, he wants to make sure that Wham is just bled dry entirely of resources.
And Mista's diving here, Trebuchet getting caught off guard, running it the wrong way. You're running away from the TC, running away from the repair villagers. Oh, he's making a run for the gate. Oh, can he get it? I don't think it's gonna be there.
Clock tower, it's gonna be close. He gets
repairs. He's gonna get taken down, and now the villagers also getting slain. The double here for Mista.
Close.
As good as it gets.
It's going to get worse. It's going to get so much better for Mista. Look at this. They're in. They got encouraged in. They got invited in by the Trebuchet. And now they're not happy with the dinner they just ate. They want a big piece of cheesecake. And that's what these villagers are.
Villagers, town centers will secure the villagers for the time being. But it's idle eco. Look at that. 42 eco idle out of the 78 that Wham has. Most of his eco is not working. And it's going to hurt sustainability.
This could be big, actually. Like, the STP's adding the damage. I think this trade should be going the way of Wham.
But Mista's buying time only. Mista's only buying time for Imperial, though. Look at the resources piling up. He's intentionally throwing away those units, buying himself time to age up. Even with the Nest of Bees out there, you don't have anything that cleans this castle. This is buying a tremendous amount of time for Mista to reach his go-to objective, that is Imperial.
And the problem right now for Wham is he's not really exploiting the full breadth for the map. Think about fishing right now. Mista keeps finding new ponds, new ways. He's spreading it out as well. He's not being greedy. He's not one of these people that says, I now have a new dock. Time to build like 10 fishing boats. He goes to each corner and then builds them up equally. So even if you move in to snipe on these corners, you can't take his eco out in one foul swoop.
And it's also difficult to find those because you can hide the Ruse fishing boats in the corners. Unless Wham actively searches for them with his junks, which is difficult to do when you're under so much pressure, Mista might be able to sneak a couple of fishing ships even on the ponds that are technically controlled by Wham.
Well, yeah, and to that point, think about logically there. Like, if you want to scout them out, you have to build a dock, 150 wood, and then you have to get your junk as well. It's a lot of resources at this stage on a chance that your opponent is in that pool.
Behind this one, by the way, one thing we haven't mentioned is that Mista hasn't even reached tier 2 bounty the whole time, despite the fact that he could have technically killed boars. That's a bit of a concern for him. Could have benefited quite massively from it, but it's not gonna be a big deal now, because he's heading towards Imperial, and it looks like he's just gonna play 4 Knights, or the grabbing Boyar's Fortitude as well.
So I think this is kind of an inconsequential detail. It's very much common to get obsessed over the bounty for more so than the gold. And the reason you shouldn't get too obsessed over it in this game is like, it wouldn't hurt him as much as being missing Will Barrow, which he is. And more so than that.
True.
So it's going to call out the bigger one. Because then if you lead on from that, think about how much of his food is on water. A lot of it is not on land. So it doesn't actually sting him as hard as it would a player who was playing land mass only. And now, speaking of land mass, the Knights start to flood in. Nestabees are prime target for him. But villagers looking to keep it alive. They're tapping their little hammers, working hard away, but it is just too much. And now once again, Wham is going to sacrifice a big bulk load of villagers. They aren't even running away.
And the Lancers are also getting cleaned up, limiting Zwam's chance of ever breaking out of his base. Trebuchet is still firing away. Now the Lancers seek that as a target. Villagers being pulled here to repair. But you have to forfeit so many villagers to save the Trebuchet. And behind this, Mista is just playing delay tactics. He doesn't care about the keep. He just wants to buy time here. Trebuchet could get taken down. No repairs.
Yeah, he can't repair it. Like, look at his eco right now, Lidakor. He's so far behind and it just gets worse and worse. This could very easily be game. The transition from Wham is so delayed, triple racks. You can see the desperation coming out just to get a defense force up. But you already let the lions out of their cages and they are running rampant in the zoo.
And Mista realizes that there is no point going into Imperial when you can put the dot on top of the I in Castle Age the same way that he did in the Danube River game, sending wave after wave of Knights to kill the enemy eco. The game where the recovery started, he was down 3 games, wins the Danube River mirror with HRE, using a very similar playstyle, and now he's just wiping out the eco for Wham. In a game where Wham needs a win to get a ticket to Heidelberg, he's down to 67 population, and he's gonna tap out.
He has to. Wham, despite his best efforts, the greed is too much. Mista didn't follow the intended script. He didn't go for the Imperial. He didn't slow down, and he will not allow a double Canadian performance here in the first monthly for the road to Wololo. Instead, a European will be added to the roster.
What a comeback here from Mista. He was down 3 games. It looked like it was gonna be a sweep for Wham. It looked like he was gonna join his brother Puppy Paw as qualified players to Heidelberg on the very same weekend. But then said, Mista, hold on for a second because I've got something to show you. Mista himself said he struggles to play long sets, but we gotta say that in this set today, he played his best games late deep into the set. Attrition wasn't a factor for him, it was experience. The fact that he brought in many of his unique builds as well, and the resilience, not wavering when he was down 3 points, makes a reverse sweep, puts it into 4-3, and with that, gets a ticket to Heidelberg.
And he has to go so late into the night. You know, he already knew he was going to have to stay up, get up early for the farm, and on the basis that the first series went to 7 games. I don't know if he was expecting to go this deep in, but here we are. Mista, one of the names that people would have expected to come through quick. Wham! Unfortunate that we couldn't have both of them on this weekend. You can definitely see the potential that they could easily both make it through still in the coming months. And they will still have an opportunity, by the way. This isn't in the road for Wham or Vortex. There's still plenty of monthlies and plenty of weekly slots to contend for. But you know what? Let's not waste too much time. This stream's been going on for quite a while. I do believe that we have a certain Mista prepping to get on the line for an interview in just a second. But just before we get into that, I just want to shout out you guys for showing up, by the way. Like, I just want to give the appropriate support to that. The subs are coming through. You guys have been absolutely amazing week on week. Like, I was talking to Pesty, the numbers that you guys have been turning up with has been so impressive for him. He's heartwarmed by it. I'm heartwarmed by it. You know, the community might not be the biggest in the world, but we come together and we come together for moments like this because this has been an amazing day of Age of Empires action to watch, and it's only one of many more ahead.
Dare I say, it might have been the most amazing game of or day of Age of Empires 4 esports rather, but enough of words. Let's hear what the newly qualified player of Red Bull Wololo Legacy has to say. It's Mista on the mic.
Hello, hello, mister. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Congratulations, my friend. Look at you coming through, working tirelessly, farming, and also slaying an Age of Empires 4. We talked a little before we got into this day. You weren't expecting to go this deep, right?
No, no, I didn't. Honestly, I didn't. I wasn't sure when I came back, like 2.5 weeks ago. I wasn't sure if I would be able to perform.
Mm. I mean, there's no doubt, and you performed. Like the start of this set was not easy though. Like, talk me through it. What was going through your mind in those first few games? Was this just like one by one shrugging it off, not letting it get to you, or was there a concern starting to build that this was going to end up being a clean sweep for WAM?
The thing is that the previous series took a lot longer than I expected, and I had I woke up really early today.
Mhm.
So I was working, and then I came back home. I started warming up. I warmed up with Vortex. We played some games, drank a coffee, then waited, drank another coffee. Then I ate a chocolate, and so I was like, I was trying to keep myself like ready. And then
Mhm.
suddenly I see a 4-3 on the next series, and around 11 o'clock, which it's 2 a.m. here right now, I
Yeah.
just started to feel so tired. Like all the caffeine and all the
Wow.
calories were done, and yeah, I didn't feel really well. I just wanted the series to finish.
I
And
can't blame you. It can't be easy as well. Like that final game. Like, were you expecting this to be some sort of cheesy type Barbican rush?
yeah, I was 100% sure it's gonna be Barbican Rush. That's why I scouted instantly on his base to see if he has fish.
Mm.
Now, the thing is that if you noticed my last 4 games, there was not a single game where I was like, I'm gonna macro play the series. Like after I was losing 3-0. I'm like, okay, we will just go hammering on in his base. I'll
Yeah.
just push relentlessly without stop. If I win, I'll win quick games. If I lose, I'm just gonna go out, and so I can go back, go and sleep. But
I
I'm like,
I don't
okay,
blame you.
this is actually working. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't expect this to work, and it did work. Uh,
Did that give you like a resurge of energy, like a second
yeah,
wind per se?
yeah,
Yeah?
yeah. The last game, I don't think I'm going to sleep now. I don't think I can
You
sleep
stayed
now.
up, just gonna
Uh,
start tilling the fields early in the morning. I love it.
I, I'm gonna go to work in 2 hours. I was going to
Wow.
go to work in like 4.5 hours from now, but I'm just gonna go earlier so I can come back and sleep.
That's incredible. Like, one thing that's on my mind is like, you have limited time. You say you can theory craft a lot. It was great to hear that you got some preparation in, like you and Vortex just like, sinisterly planning together to slay the Canadians. But how much time do you get to research your opponents to keep up to date with the best in the game? Because, there's a theory crafting and there's the grinding you do as well. But is there enough time left for prep against specific opponents?
Well, the thing is, when you come back, when I'm coming back from work at night, most of the times I cannot play, but I can sit at my computer and I can watch and I can observe. Luckily, most of the nights, especially yesterday, Wam had his history open, and I know his Smurf as well. Therefore, I took notes of all the builds and all the maps and all the ships that he picks, and I wrote them down. And I picked. I made a diagram of what I want to do in each map, and I didn't pick four lakes because I wanted, I didn't want to pick four lakes as my home map, especially since he didn't ban Rus. And I knew that if the game goes to the last game, like it would be his last map. Therefore, I will have Rus, and he will most likely have China. I think today I was right in. I was wrong in the Mongols. In the Mongol, I didn't expect him to pick Mongol in Frisian Marses. I thought he would pick French there.
So you felt like how many out of the total games did you predict right of what he would pick?
I don't have I have 50-50. So I got all of the 50-50s. And four maps I predicted what he would do and what he would pick. Now, anyway, yeah, I was prepared. I wasn't prepared in some of the maps. I think like the Mongol mirror was kind of unfair towards me, but that's fine. Uh, you know, we play the game. Shit happens. We gotta move on.
Oh, now, you said that you've been watching the Puppy Paw versus Vortex set. It was 3-0 for Puppy Paw. Then, suddenly, Vortex makes a comeback to 3-3. So, you watching that, and after that being in the very same scenario, how big of a boost did it give you that you could see that, hey, Vortex was able to come back from a 3-0 deficit against the other Canadian brother?
I mean, I think Vortex had a similar appearance to me. Like he looked kind of weak in the first 3 games, and then suddenly he started playing really well. I thought Vortex could probably take it after seeing the last 2 games before the 7th game, but it's a game. You cannot predict everything. You can expect people to do things. You can try to predict a lot of things and be prepared, but you can never really be prepared.
Alright, we'll leave you to your work and rest though, because as you said, you've been waiting a lot of time to play your set, and you've got a lot of things to do here, but I'm sure you're more than happy getting a ticket to Heidelberg. Congratulations once again, Mista. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with all the things that you're about to do in this coming day without sleep. Huge shout out once again to Mista, guys. Absolutely wonderful performance. Congrats.
Huge shout out to all the viewers who are amazing. And thanks
Hey.
for the support, guys.
Shout out to you, dude. You're amazing. You're an absolute Levarth and you power through. And, like, I'm hyped. I'm hyped to see you make it there. Like, your story is one of stamina more than anything else. And I think you've leveled up to a whole new level there. Good luck. And I look forward to seeing you more.
Thank you. Have a lovely evening.
And with
What
that,
a wonderful guy.
he's
say,
just
like,
such
what a
a
wonderful
lovely
guy.
player. Like, you
I love
cannot
the
not like
mentality.
Mista.
I love the mentality as well. Like, don't take that the wrong way when he's like, screw it, right? It happens, sort of thing. It's not just him not caring about the game. It's him willing to like take the punches and say, when it doesn't go your way, you can't just be a crybaby about it. Like that, you could, but that's not how you become the best. Like, you know what? When you see a problem, find solutions. Remember earlier in the day when I was talking about like outposts being broken right now? Yeah, they are. They're ridiculous. They're broken. Whatever. Find a solution. Mister's that type of person that finds a solution to any problem. And as you highlight, he even does it midway through a game.
Exactly. Like, such a unique player, such a lovable character, who does this alongside a very hard full-time work as well. Barely has time to play the game, but as he said, when he is coming back home tired, he doesn't just watch a TV series. He doesn't just turn on Netflix. He goes on, scouts the Smurf accounts of his future opponent, and then creates charts to predict his civilization predictions. The commitment of this guy is unmatched, and it's so nice to see him qualify here for Heidelberg, but no worries over here for Vam either. He has missed this by just an inch, but to be honest, his confidence should still remain high, because I would be shocked if I did not see him in Heidelberg. It might take one more month for him, one more monthly event to get there. But Vam, he's looking really good. If he continues to play like this, he for sure is gonna have a ticket to Heidelberg as well. But with that, we're closing out